Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. A few days ago, I talked about GOG's incredible new refund policy that is really taking a lot of the other e-tailers' refund policies and heightening it quite a bit, having a 30-day window to play a game, and if you don't like it, being able to refund a game. That is pretty amazing for the consumer. However, all of you guys shouted off in the comment section, and I even sounded off in the video that I uploaded, that it could pose a lot of problems. 30 days is a significant window, and how Steam does it is you have a 2-week window, and you are limited to 2 hours of playtime. While I am all for, me as a consumer having 30 days to play a game, and then being able to refund the game no matter how long I play the game, yeah, I get that it's great for me, I get that it's great for you guys, but a lot of you guys even realized it right away. This is gonna be so easily abusable, and my rationale was that GOG obviously talked to a lot of the developers and people that are publishing these games on GOG about this refund policy before they actually implemented it, because that is absolutely necessary. However, now it's coming out from Eurogamer, and a lot of tweets are being put out that a lot of developers did not know about the new refund policy, and many are worried it could be abused, and I think that's the worry a lot of us had, even as consumers. Like, we're the freaking consumer, we're not selling games on GOG. However, we're immediately thinking, okay, there's gonna be a subsect of people that are immediately gonna abuse the hell out of this, and it is gonna pose some problems for people putting their games out. Eurogamer notes, a few days ago, GOG announced it was changing its refund policy as part of a declaration of trust to consumers. Previously, refunds were given only if the game hadn't been downloaded and played, or if the game literally wouldn't run on a player's hardware. But now, players will be able to request a refund at any point during a period of 30 days after purchasing, no strings attached. And that's really the issue, the no strings attached part. You need to at least put some sort of boundaries, and look, I'm okay with no boundaries, but just from an objective standpoint and making sure it's fair for everyone involved, and we're not in this era of just offering free rentals through refunds, you do need to put some boundaries. At least that's what makes the most logical sense. It also continued, everyone at GOG believes in a gamer's first approach. That was from the blog post GOG put out in regards to the refund policy. The latest update to our voluntary refund policy adds another piece to this customer-friendly experience, and it all sums up in one sentence. Starting now, you can get a full refund up to 30 days after purchasing a product, even if you downloaded, launched, and played it. That's it. On the surface, it seems like a big win for consumers. You can test drive any game, and if you're really not liking it for whatever reason, the refund process is painless and pretty streamlined. The policy change also means GOG has effectively leapfrogged Steam's already flexible refund policy, and when that was introduced, I was like, this is game-changing for PC gamers, because that was a long time. For a long time, that was the main issue, or one of the main issues. I shouldn't say the main issue, but one of the main issues is that with digital gaming, just inherently, what if a game doesn't run on your system? What if a game is so bad and you don't like it at all? You can't trade it in. You're locked into your purchase. There were some inherent issues in that regard, but then in came the refund system, and yes, 2 hours isn't, the most significant window of time to experience a game and see if you like it, but it's something, and at least you'll get the information on whether or not a game's gonna run on your PC, and I think that's incredibly important. And it also put pressure on the developers, saying, hey, you can't do garbage PC ports over and over again, because people are gonna refund the hell out of the game now, so they have a little bit more pressure on them to deliver quality PC ports, so that's really great as well. But in making it so consumer friendly, does GOG's new refund policy risk hurting developers? That's what many have been discussing on Twitter over the last few days, with developers expressing concerns over the extreme flexibility of the refund system and highlighting it could be easily abused. More than anything, it seems there are still a lot of unknowns surrounding the new refund policy, and many are particularly annoyed that developers and publishers were unaware of the policy before it was publicly announced. Rami Ishmael noted, well, I didn't know about this one. 30 days is a lot more time than I feel is necessary to evaluate a game, and a lot more than almost all games take to complete if you play them for an hour daily. Young me would definitely abuse the hell out of this. And again, you can tell people not to abuse it, but what kind of control do you have? The only control is GOG being like, okay, this person's refunded enough games, and at that point, that person has already gotten the benefit of playing through a lot of games for free, essentially. then you're already kind of hurting developers that way. Again, I'm not taking away that it's amazing for gamers, but you have to consult developers on this one as well, because everybody has to come together and make a decision that's beneficial for everyone, because from this standpoint, this does seem like a lot of great PR for GOG, but for the developers, it is a little bit worrisome. And what does that say about them not being aware about a drastic change like a refund policy? They should be aware about it, even if they're not consulted directly. Hey, at least tell them, we're implementing this refund policy. We're gonna make the press release and announcement tomorrow or next week or whatever the case may be. Be ready for it. If you have any issues with it, contact us or whatever. That doesn't seem that difficult to do. Mike Rose also tweeted out, something I will say about this GOG refund policy, users being allowed to refund anything they buy up to 30 days later, is that GOG did not tell devs before they did it, which is pretty shitty regardless of whether you think it's a good idea or not. Yes, I agree with that. If that is accurate and no developers were aware about that, that is not okay, and the developers have to be the first ones to know about this. More so than the consumers, the developers should know well in advance. The developers should have known when this just became an idea, and they should have been emailed, hey, are you guys okay with this? What do you guys think about it? And maybe they'll give some reasoning. We think that this will actually heighten game sales for whatever reason. It'll make people more comfortable in buying games. Whatever the case may be, the developers should have some input, and at the very, very least, they should be known around a week before it is actually implemented. Hey, this is going through. Be aware of it, and if you want to pull your games from GOG, you have the option to do that. You always have to leave that option to them. And it's unfortunate that things unfolded like this. Rengar Tornquest tweeted out, developers, at least most of us, are never consulted when Steam or GOG make fundamental changes to their services. They sell our games, they make money from our games. Why do we not get a say in how our games are sold? Very accurate assessment there. To dig into this in further detail, Eurogamer noted, quote, I got into touch with developers and asked them about their concerns and spoke to GOG to find out how it hopes to prevent refund abuse. At first glance, the policy already seems quite lenient, but there's a further problem with the policy that stems from GOG's DRM-free focus, a major selling point for the Stormfront, which is proving to be something of a double-edged sword. For those who haven't heard of it, DRM stands for Digital Rights Management, a form of access control technology that prevents the sharing of copyrighted works and video game piracy, although it often gets cracked rather quickly. Unfortunately, DRM systems have been known to hamper performance or sometimes require players to connect to the internet, even for single-player games, making it somewhat unpopular with consumers, and oftentimes DRM inclusion in games leads to the game performing less well on PC from a sales standpoint than had the game not had DRM in the first place, because now a lot of people are annoyed by the DRM inclusion, so to just say F you, they're just not going to buy the game or whatever the case may be, or it literally just hampers the game so much that it's not as quality of a title. As such, GOG sells DRM-free games to give itself an edge in the market, but this is causing problems with the updated refund policy. A player could feasibly buy a DRM-free game, download it, and keep it, then request a refund, effectively getting the game for free. Yes, because a game is DRM free, that is another major issue that they do have to handle. Refund policies work with DRM in mind and DRM having a factor in it. If you can download a game, just keep it on your PC and then be like, alright, I'm good on this. You can remove it from my account so I can't download it anymore. But what if I already have it downloaded? That's a little bit of an issue. This also explains why GOG's refund eligibility previously ended at the point of download, but according to No More Robots founder Mike Rose, who contacted GOG about the policy changes, GOG's reason for the new no strings attached policy was because, quote, users had been complaining about their previous policy, which was essentially no refunds. And yes, that is a point that's kind of the double-edged sword with DRM-free gaming, that if you do want refunds, you kind of have to have some sort of DRM in there just so you can assess and realize how to give out refunds. And you know, for Steam refunds, for a little form of DRM, I do think the trade-off is kind of worth it, and it was continued to note by Rose, quote, it's a tricky one because I do personally agree that places should have refund policies, but because GOG is DRM-free, as they love to shout about, it does mean that whatever refund policy they put in place, anyone can abuse it by simply downloading the game, getting a refund, and then keeping the game. So whatever they choose to do, there's always going to be someone who abuses that. The DRM-free aspect could also make things tricky for GOG to find a middle ground akin to Steam's 2-hour playtime, as the lack of DRM means GOG likely cannot see if a player is playing a game, which means they can't track anything other than download. So that's another issue. How do you actually put any parameters on people refunding games? either your option is screw the DRM free policy, let's make GOG include some form of DRM, which kind of goes against everything that GOG has stood for over the last few years. Your other option is to remove this refund policy entirely, or the third option is to just keep the refund policy in place. If the developers don't like it, well, you know, that's up to them. They can pull their games, they can sell it on other storefronts, but this is something maybe that they feel ultimately will give them an edge in the storefront competition, which the competition in that regard is incredibly high right now, more so than ever before, and everybody's trying to get an edge. Steam's got a stranglehold on the market, but then you've got EGS offering free games up the kazoo, and now GOG's trying to do something to cater towards the consumer. However, now they're annoying developers as well. Rose continued by noting, who needs 30 days to decide whether they like a thing? You could play through an entire game multiple times in 30 days. Any game that needs 30 days of evaluation time out there, he didn't believe that it existed, which I kind of agree, unless it's some grandiose MMO or something like that. But if you look at GOG's game offerings, a lot of them you can complete in 30 days or whatever the case may be, a lot quicker than that even. So this is kind of a train wreck right now. GOG, I did not know about all of the issues about developers not being consulted, about developers not having any idea that this was being implemented. I think I even said in my previous video that obviously developers had to be consulted about this, and obviously developers gave their A-OK on this, because GOG seems like a company that really does, or I should say CD Projekt Red and GOG as a platform, they seem to really think about everyone involved, and they do seem like an inclusive platform or whatever the case may be. However, in this case, I really do feel like they've messed up in regards to the developers. For the consumers, if this does stay intact, it's gonna be incredible, and, you know, it's gonna be great if you do end up playing a game and you don't really enjoy it and you want to refund it, or for the people that do want to abuse it. Hey, for them, light bulbs are going off in their head, and that's something that they can definitely take advantage of. So that's going to conclude this video. I definitely want to hear from you guys, and I'll leave the link to Eurogamer's in-depth article in the description box down below by Emma Ken. It's a very, very well done article, so give it a read for yourself. So that's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you guys have a request for a future video, you can leave that in the comments as well, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.